Steve and Flora on the Arizona Trail. An Arizona trails to Philippine tales in lush green fields of the Philippines. Motorbikes weaving through village scenes. New friends made along the way, sharing stories at the break of day.
Hello and welcome to Arizona Trails, Philippine Tales. My name is Steve and this is going to be week number 59 of the Philippine House Build and also a hospital review. So before we even get into the hospital, let's start talking about medical insurance. Now, sometimes in medical insurance, you can try and choose a company or try and save up. At first, Flora and I thought, well, I mean, if you go through everyday life and you don't get injured or hurt and you're not going to need money for medical, then it might be easier to put back money every week and go from there in saving up medical. Now, the amount of medical that we saved up at the time of this incident was about 26,000 pesos. Really would have covered what would be the first 3 days of the hospital room and board. Now, I think Flora and I, after this experience, will be getting insurance to help cover the cost, because out here you just don't really know what's going to take place at any given time. Matter of fact, when I was in the hospital, there was another foreigner, a Dutch person, who was at a swimming hole and he was diving, and I guess he hit his knee and smashed his knee on a rock. So I'm just picking up laundry, and and I unbalanced the bike and crashed. This person was probably enjoying his time in the Philippines and decided to do some diving or swimming, and now he's got a crashed knee just like I have. So that was an incident there. So I was sort of wanted to go over the idea or what you might run into in the Philippines. So like I said, everything is a pay as you play, pay as you go kind of service. So the prices for the rooms that I got when I was there was 1,200 pesos for a ward unit, which is more than one person, of course. It's a shared room, and then it was 1,700 pesos for a private room. So that comes out to about 30 American dollars or 30 USD. So sort of like what a hotel would cost you, $30 a night for room and board. It doesn't include the meals, but then you start paying for all the nurses and everybody that walks in, the medicines that you're given, things like that, and of course that all adds up. And I sort of wanted to touch on those prices. Now, my knee diagnosis. So basically, when I was there inside the hospital, they went ahead and diagnosed me that I had just reading it off here, a fractured lateral tibial plateau in my left leg. So of course, the procedure was to do a surgery or an open reduction internal fixation of the left lateral tibial plateau bone. And I think that's basically when your femur bone pushes into the soft bone tissue. It sort of releases that bone and it becomes a fracture. And that's when the doctors get all those screws and nuts and everything to screw back in. So I'll go ahead and show those x-rays before and after my leg, and I'll place those here. And then once the surgery and everything is done, of course, you continue to get bills and other things to pay. I was actually in the hospital from March 7th to, let's see here, they got me down from March 7th to March 17th, so 10 days in the hospital, or I think they counted that as 11 days. And then, again, that was $1,700 a day, or not dollars, pesos, so $30 a day for each one of those days. And then I want to try and cover, I think it was for medicines and laboratories, I think that was about about $400 each of USD. And then I had a total of 4 doctors. So 4 doctors together doing the operation and caring of my knee was 232,000 pesos. And I think that came out to about $4,000 USD. So all in all, my total bill for room and board, the medicines, the nursing staff, the food, I mean everything, the whole ball of wax came out to about 362,000 pesos, and that ran me about 6,500 USD. Which, one, no insurance. 2, definitely a lot cheaper than what it would be in the United States of America, especially for that surgery, hospital, room and board, and everything. So 6,000 USD, really not a bad price. But you know, when you're over here in a foreign country, you want to try and save as much money as you can anyways. So again, Laura and I will definitely be looking into medical insurance to try and get. I mean, we sort of looked into it back in Tucson before we decided to come to the Philippines. One place was, of course, Pacific Cross, and we're going to take a look at that and see how much that is versus what we were just saving back, because a lot of those costs and expenses would have actually been handled by insurance instead of paying out of pocket right away. You know, and just again, a couple of observations while in the hospital. Usually, sometimes the hospitals don't even supply you the medications, or they supply the prescriptions for the medication, and either their pharmacy doesn't have it to give to you, or you have to go to another hospital, or you have to go to all the different drugstores available that have pharmacies and see if you can get prescriptions. I know a lot of that started happening when we got out of the hospital. They gave us a sort of a listing of prescriptions that I would need now that I'm out of the hospital. So, of course, Flora, I thought it would just be a short drive home. I had my brace on. I was able to get into a vehicle okay, but I thought it would be a short ride home. It turned out to be a downtown, go to all the pharmacies that I possibly can, looking for medications before even going back home. Just again, something that's culturally different in the Philippines, and if you're planning on coming out here, to expect it, because I mean, I never went to a hospital. I never had any surgeries when I was in the United States, never went into a hospital. You know, and I've rode motorcycles before and everything. I've been in car wrecks before. Thing about growing older, you become a little bit more fragile, and I just, you know, I mean, the bike was 300 pounds, so it was 300 pounds going into my leg, moving the femur bone into my tibia, patelis bone, or whatever that is. Tibial plateau bone, and that's what it was to move that. Complaints? Um, I would say this is one of the complaints that I really ran into while being in the hospital, was IV sites. Now, in the United States of America, usually if they place an IV site in, it stays in unless you've got swelling or you've got some kind of blockage or redness or irritation or something to that effect. And that's when they're going to move the IV. Not here. One, they place the IV in the hand. I mean, some places do it in the United States too. I know I've had, I think my last, I did go to the hospital before coming out to the Philippines, and I had a kidney stone attack, and they put the IV in my hand versus the arm. But here they really like the IV being put in the hand, and they've got a rule to change the site every couple of days. But the funny thing is when I first got to the ER, the emergency room doctors, they went ahead and put the IV in right away, and it was all set up and ready to go in my hand, and that stayed in my hand for 3 days. And I thought, okay, great. But they were like, oh, the hospital caters to students as well, and I'm all for that. You know, students that are going into the medical field need to go in, they need to do their blood pressure checks, they need to do their temperature checks, and they need to check the sites of the IV, and it's a routine for them. So that's a routine. So during their routine, they would come in and they're like, sir, you have some swelling here, we need to move the IV site. And so within 10 days of me being there, and they really started changing it almost hourly by the time that I was ready to leave, my hands were hurting very badly. And I got to the point where I said, listen, just give me the pill form of the drugs. My hands can't take any more IV inserts. So I refused. So they said, okay, sir, you're going to have to sign a waiver saying that you refused the IV and why, or what are the reasons for that. So I filled out the paper, just give me the pill medication. So I would say that was my biggest complaint, just due to the reason why, usually in a hospital setting, especially in the United States, if there's no redness, no swelling, and that IV is still pumping in the medication, you're good. Here, if they do it wrong to begin with, and you've got swelling and the medication's not going in, and they see that it's swollen, and then they want to move it to another site, and they don't do it right there either, it's just not beneficial for the nursing staff to keep moving the site, you know, unless they do it right to begin with. And then if it's right and there's no redness or swelling and the medication is going in, keep the IV in. Don't move the UV site. You'll be just fine. But here they like to move the IV site. So that was my major complaint about the hospitals. And so what I'm going to do now is, again, I got a couple of short videos that was done while I was in the hospital, of the house build. So we'll consider that our week number 59. I think Flora is actually going down next week to do a proper house video, and that'll be for week 60. And so we'll just see what's taking place. Thank you for checking out the hospitalization house build video. Again, give you some ideas while you're out here. Even if you're just coming out for a visit, make sure you have some kind of insurance. Make sure that you're prepared in the event that anything can happen. Like I said, you can be, cliff diving into a swimming hole and hit your knee against a rock. That's going to end your vacation time pretty quickly, and you got to make sure that you're all set with the possibility of surgery. I also wanted to go over Flora's pricing as well. Now, she was actually considered an outpatient versus me being an inpatient, needing a room, needing surgery, and such. So basically, Flora, her stitching and doctor's cost out of pocket for an outpatient. Flora had to pay 12,000 pesos, or around $200, for her stitches. So a little bit different pricing than a inpatient or a patient that was going to be admitted to the hospital. And so Flora did have to pay that amount, but you know, they still looked after her. She was actually looking after me while being in the hospital, but of course, doctors were addressing her needs as well if she needed something. Alrighty, that's it for Arizona Trails and Philippine Tales. Thank you again for joining, and you have a great day. Bye bye.
Kay ba na magungsaon? Kay ba na magungsaon? Di hapit na.
Oh, hapit na.
Paspas na kuno pa basta usab kay ka.
Kamao naman.
May pa dai giuna tong mga bilispikas no? Kay mahanas na ang tato diha. Wa na ito usod.
Naon sa manang pultahan, okay na? Oh, mura mo na.
Sige naman.
Maunas barko.
Pamisang